Let's get more reaction now as South Africans continue to mourn the news of the death of Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. We're now joined by Reverend Frank Chikane, who was a fellow struggle stalwart during the years of the fight for liberation. Reverend, thank you very much for your time. I mean, I remember particularly a tweet from you not so long ago talking about, how proud you are of the Archer's fight for the justice of the Palestinian people. And today, the sad news that he's passed on.
Yes, thank you very much. May I just start by expressing my condolences to Mama Leah and the children who are like my siblings, and the rest of the country and the world. I think we have lost a great prophet amongst us, but at 90, Archbishop Desmond Tutu had played his role, could not do more. And that he did, no one will forget those who lived during his time. And I just want to say that we thank God for his life. I think he's worth celebrating. So I call on the nation not just to mourn, but to celebrate his life and his prophetic ministry, and for standing for the truth in this country during the apartheid days and even now in a democracy. Not mix his words. He stood for the truth at all times. I'm also encouraged. I was encouraged by him. I'm like a disciple of his time. We were like the youth league of his generation. And we learned a lot from him. And he was there when we needed him. When I was General Secretary of the Council of Churches, I could call on him anytime. He'll drop everything for the people, especially during the massacres in Sebokeng, in Alexandra, and various other places in the country. So I'd like to really thank God for his life, and may his soul rest.
I want to go back to the point that you made, Reverend, about the Archbishop being a person who didn't mince his words, whether it was during the apartheid days or after that. I mean, you were in former President Thabo Mbeki's office, very high in that office in 2008. We all know what happened that year in September. In 2011, we remember the Archbishop warning the ANC. That video still circulates even today, warning them against the type of corruption that is embroiled in, etc. I'm sure during that time, you had already left government because of what happened in 2008. But during that time, I'm sure you understood exactly where he was coming from.
Well, I couldn't miss him because he was so clear. That's why I followed on his footsteps. And if you look at my 33-page document to the leadership of the African National Congress, you will know exactly what I said, because it was quite clear that if we don't stop the corruption and fail to serve the people, which is what the ANC was meant to be, then they would lose an election, because people will have no interest, will lose interest in voting for it. And the message is very clear to the leadership of the African National Congress. And it was clear from the Archbishop. The last time I met him, he was really in great pain about what was happening in the country. And I had to give him a promise to say, Arch, please rest and not worry about what's happening in the country. Leave it to us who are younger, and we will make sure that there's a turnaround in this country. And that's why I dedicated my life to making sure that which course of events in the country in honor of him. And as we celebrate his life and witness, we need to actually remember that where we are, it's not where we thought we would be when we fought for our liberation.
Now, Reverend, you're sort of in the same path as the Archbishop, of course, also being somebody who is, very important in the church. He is one of those people who showed the important role that the church plays to fight for the rights of, a minority of people. I mean, for instance, you can imagine how he was almost rejected by the church when he started fighting for gay rights, but also at the same time how the church perceived him when they found out that his daughter had to give up her priesthood because of her same-sex marriage.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a prophet is all about. I mean, when I was part of the leadership of the ANC, and I just retired now, we had to discuss these matters because they are difficult matters within the church. And we agreed that you may not agree with people, but you have no right they were beginning to kill people just because they think differently, they behave differently. And we're saying, no, you can't do that. People have the right to make the choices they make. You have the right to make choices you need to make. But we have to defend the rights of others, especially right to life, when people begin just because they are different. And so it's a very difficult subject within the churches, but we're able to find a position that makes it very clear that the right of choice, it's people's choices. But if you believe in a way, live your beliefs.
And the Archbishop, Reverend, he was, in fights with government quite a lot, and it was very public a lot of the times because of his character of being so honest and telling the ANC where they mess up and where they need to improve. But also his best friend, one of his very good friends, the Dalai Lama. I mean, I remember, I think it was 2 years back in 2011 and again in 2014, where the Dalai Lama was supposed to come here to celebrate the Arch's 80th birthday, but government not accepting his visa application, etc., and the Archbishop was very vocal in the fact that that also was wrong.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's now history. I mean, that's what he's doing. And we need to respect him for that. Remember that the ANC or the governing party has gone through very difficult times, and we know about that, and it's still going through very difficult times. And that's why some of us have taken a stand to say if they don't change, I mean, the people will then punish the party. But if it changes, then the people will love it because it is their party. And so it's a matter of whether or not they are listening to the voices that are being communicated to them. And Desmond Tutu was one of those who communicated very clearly what the issues of justice are, and that we cannot have people in leadership stealing people's money and let people live in poverty when they live in their own, splendor. I think that is totally.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time, Reverend Frank Chikane, here on eNCA on News.